Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, Reverend WAINAINA of the All Saints Cathedral has been one of the most vocal church leader who has been taking this government head on. It's unlike all these other M-Pesa bishops who keep glorifying the corruption that is going on. In fact, in a statement that Reverend WAINAINA released, he said that at this moment, the church cannot challenge the government because the churches have been pocketed. I mean, these churches cannot criticize Ruto's government because some of these churches were given tokens so that they can be silenced. At this moment, he goes further to say that even the churches are threatened. Reverend WAINAINA gave a very lengthy statement, and I don't know how many of you have watched that video. It was almost a 15 minutes video talking about politics and how things have changed drastically. So I want us to go deeper into the statement that was released by Reverend WAINAINA. But first of all, let me welcome you again to this channel, and perhaps if you're watching this channel for the first time or a regular viewer who hasn't subscribed, please support this channel by subscribing and liking our video. So let's get on to this analysis. WAINAINA tells this government to stop hiding in Christianity, because he tells the government that they have been using the church to climb the ladder, using the church to hide their ill deeds. WAINAINA goes further to say that the government cannot be overtaxing people, and on this other side, imeachilia mfereji wa pesa kuibiwa. Pesa inaibiwa huku wanachukua ushuru mwingi kwa watu. That is what Reverend WAINAINA talks about. He also talks about projects that are being reintroduced, like the case of JKIA. You know that there is a time Gachagua talked about Murkomen tengeneza airport nyingine, a standard one. That means money will have to be spent. A lot of money will have to be spent. And then there's the issue of a generator, a new generator. A lot of money will have to be spent, you know. So he has talked about these things, talked about so many things, talked about parastatals which are being disposed. They are disposed, but at the same time, the people who are going to acquire them are the government officials. So these are the things which Reverend WAINAINA talked about. He also talked about parliament capture, that the parliament cannot and will not stand for the people.
Appreciation of the Kenyan shilling against the dollar, which is affecting the prices of most of the commodities because we are net importers. When I hear of that cry, it is very sad. I hear of a ruling class that doesn't seem to care about the depressing situations of this country. We have a weak parliament that can be used by the executive to add taxes to Kenyans. When this government was campaigning, they said they are going to reduce taxes. In fact, they were criticizing the then government, which they were part of, because of the high taxation. But today, the load of taxation is becoming heavier and heavier. And this is happening at a time when we hear of cases of grand corruption. So on one hand, you tax people. On the other one, the same government gets into scandals of corruption.
He also weighed in on this aspect that Kenyans are being threatened not to go to court. The issue of housing levy, ama housing project. Hata ukienda kotini, we will still do it. Sisi tutaifanya. You know? So, Reverend WAINAINA of the All Saints Cathedral, I started off by telling you that he has been one of the most vocal leaders, church leaders here in Kenya, and he has been giving this regime sleepless nights. You know, if you are listening to the words or the video that I shared, then there is a part there where he talks about the promises which the regime made, which made some other people to look the other way and vote for them. I mean, I must admit that despite the fact that there were cases of irregularities and illegalities in IEBC operations and voting and the like, but there are people who voted for UDA just because of the manifesto.
For example, the edible oil. What has the government to do with edible oil? Any government project is riddled in a lot of corruption, unfortunately. And then you are told it is not fit for human consumption. Fuel prices are not making sense in Kenya. If you compare with the world, the prices are going down. In Kenya, they are going higher, affecting the lives of the poor Kenyans. Most of the public resources are going into waste, unfortunately. And the controller of budget actually stated publicly, and this is information that you have, that 2.2 billion has been spent in the office of the president and State House between July and September. If you do that calculation, it means that we spend in that office 23 million per day and 1 million per hour. That cannot be sustainable. While I was away, I hear now you've moved from Kenya Power and Lightning to Kenya Power and Darkness. And I even hear now you want to spend billions of shillings to unbundle the power lines. This is corruption after corruption after corruption in a government that looked very Christian. And you remember I told them not to hide in Christianity. Christianity is being men and women of integrity. You cannot use Christ to come to power, and then when you get there, you become a corrupt leader. The context in Kenya is becoming even sadder with the weakening of the opposition. While we should be having a very strong opposition by this time to check on the government, it's becoming weaker and weaker, and we can't hear the voice of parliament, but also the schemes that you see to silence people. The other day I was reading of somebody threatening Kenyans not to go to court. Kenyans have the right to go to court. And leaders should, political leaders, I wish they were hearing me, should never threaten Kenyans. They are there because we voted. And they are there as servants, not as bosses. No threats. What even saddens me now is when I hear the voice of the church being silenced. Unfortunately, the church seems to be in bed with the government. They can't challenge the government. They have become recipients of government appointments and recognitions. And that is dangerous. So corruption, if you're not careful, will permeate every part of the church. This cathedral has been known as a place of agitation. This pulpit has been used by many people in the past, archbishops and provosts, as a place of calling on the government. And that is the role that the church must engage. And this church is very central to that.
Kanisa imewekwa mfukoni. According to All Saints Cathedral, Reverend WAINAINA. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you make of that statement from WAINAINA and what he said? Just go below the comment section and tell us what you think about that statement. So perhaps if you're watching this video for the first time and you're not subscribed, please take a moment and subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. And to those who supported this channel by subscribing, I want to tell you here that I'm forever grateful for that support, because without you, this channel cannot grow. So until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.